Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-hosts.
Dominic Steele.
XXGG Club.
Alright, so we're here today on Thursday. How are the two of you doing?
I have been pretty good. Everything has been going pretty smooth so far. Pretty crazy news. I have been called up from the new job for a training day this Friday, tomorrow, as the date of this recording.
Oh, wow.
Pretty insane. Time is moving quick, and I've already prepared clothing, for the work over there in case everything goes wrong, hint hint. But yeah, aside from that, also a little funny situation happened while at work. However, I don't think it's funny now to think about it, but a small little thing happened. So basically, a person ordered a pizza, right? And they wanted a lot of toppings. However, they ordered extra cheese with everything else. And then they began complaining as to why we didn't add any toppings to the pizza when it was all covered by the extra cheese that they ordered. And they had to ruin their own pizza just to look for the ingredients that was hidden by all the cheese. And we told them what happened, but they were still angry at us for their own choice.
Man.
But yeah.
That's
Nothing
customer
else.
service for you.
Nothing else.
I could never
It
work
is
in
what it
customer
is.
service. What about you, Jill? Anything new?
I've been contemplating spending more money on stuff I don't need. There was something that happened the other day. Oh yeah, on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, I think it was Monday. Monday afternoon, we went to this thing, like a little festival, a little Mexican festival. You might have heard of it, maybe. It's called El Día del Patrón Santiago, or something like that. And it's basically like this festival they have in my hometown back in Michoacan. And it was like the first time that I experienced something like that. And it was honestly a lot of fun. You guys should if you're willing, you should look into it because it's honestly very unique in the way that they go about the stuff.
Interesting.
But besides that, it's been pretty much the same.
Interesting. As far as me, what day was it? Was it Tuesday? I don't know, but I know I showed both of y'all there was like a huge thing happening down my block where like there was a ton of police, ambulance, there was a helicopter. They apparently brought in I think it was the riot squad. I don't know. They brought in like a ton of people there. I don't know what happened still down the hill, but there was a ton of people in my something happened like down the street from where I live, and it was pretty crazy. And then other than that, I also, I've just been, keeping up with certain things, watching more shows, obviously doing my script writing for a lot of coming episodes, especially this one. I'm excited for today's episode. But nothing's really been happening, and I don't think there's really been any other big news of late, so I think for now, to give ourselves as much time as possible in this episode, we'll just get right into today's topic, especially because it's been one that's been planned for a while. I don't think we ever openly explained it, but when season 2 ended, Dom, and then when Gio later came along, we really started making preparations to really improve the quality, and one of those was planning episodes ahead of time so we could really be well thought out and thorough, especially when it comes to reviews. And to finish off the month of July, we decided let's do an anime review because it's been a while. I think I know we did an Akira review, which is like technically an anime, but that's like an anime movie. In terms of shows, I don't think we've ever done one, huh, Dom? Because we've only done movies so far.
Yeah, we haven't done a single show. I think in the history of this podcast
we
and the other.
We did a silent voice. We did Akira, but I don't think we've ever done like an anime series.
Show, yeah.
So this is gonna be our first one, and the one I recommended is an anime called A Place Further Than the Universe, which is about the general, like like what it's about in general is that it's 4 girls who go on a trip to Antarctica, and like in more detail, one of the girls, her mother was a part of a expedition team to Antarctica, like what was it, like I think it was like 3 years before she ends up going, and it's presumed, I say presumed because I'll get into why I say presumed later, but you go into the anime with like presuming that the mother sadly died there, and that's the reason why she wants to go to Antarctica to visit the place where her mother worked. And along that, 3 other girls join, all with their own sort of like motives in a sense. The first girl, who's like the one we're introduced to at the very start, is I forget the names, and I don't want to like mispronounce names, but
it's Mari. The first one's Mari. Yes.
Yeah. Her motive is that while cleaning her room, she stumbles upon an old diary of hers from I think middle school, right? And she's like, she sees that like one of the main goals she wrote for herself, especially like when it came to high school, was to live. What was it? What's the exact wording? Something about not living
to
like
get most.
There we go.
Was it to like get most out of her youth?
Yeah, get the most out of her youth. And she feels like she hasn't done any of that because I think she's in like her second year of high school, and she's just like, I haven't done anything of note. And so like she feels bad, and that's when she runs into the girl who's gonna plan to go to Antarctica and says, hey, why not do something adventurous without really having a plan for it. I don't remember what the third girl's motivation was to join. I know the last one is like she didn't have friends, and the 3 of them begin to become friends with her, and they convince her to go on the expedition because that's the only way they can go is if she goes. Do you remember? Do any of you remember what the?
It was because, well, according to her, it was because she overheard their conversations a lot, and she got excited for it. But then later on, like towards the end, we figure out, or she tells more. And she says that she wanted to go to a place where she wouldn't be like basically bound by like society because of all the trouble she was having with her classmates. She just wanted to be like free of everything.
Interesting. All right, yeah. So that's kind of the main story and character motivations, and then there's obviously all the stuff that happens in between. Because it starts off with them trying to figure out how to get there, trying to come up with different ways. Because, it's obviously like they're not just going to let 4 random kids just go on a journey to Antarctica. And as I mentioned, the way they end up doing it is because the 4th girl, she's like an idol, right? If I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. She's a child actor.
Yeah, and so like...
/ idol.
Yeah, they send her to kind of like document the trip, and once they become friends with her, she like gives them the deal, I'm going, but I have to take these other 3 with me. If not, I'm not going to do it. What were your 2's thoughts on this anime?
Ju, you want to go first?
I was asking.
Or you want me to go?
Yeah, I was going to.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. No, that's fine. All right. So, first impressions. I thought it was going to be a sort of slice of life that was not going to get as deep as I thought it would. But considering the title, "A Place for the within the Universe," I would have a feeling that there would be a more, I guess, a bigger background for Mari, the main character that we get a first sneak peek at in the first episode. However, I feel like some some proportions of the anime were just a little bit exaggerated. Like, I understand that Mari's intention to go to Antarctica were influenced because Shirase, the second girl, the tall one, wanted to go because of her mother. But understanding, in terms of, I'm not sure if I should be calling them by their names. I think I'm saying completely wrong. I'm gonna call them tall girl. The tall girl wanted to go, knowing that unfortunately her mother passed away. But I'm not sure if the idea for her to go is because she thinks her mother's waiting for her when she know she's not anymore, right? But I'm not sure how to explain it, but how would you be influenced to go when the motive of someone else is more of a deeper route than what you were originally wanted to go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
Like for Mari, she wants to go because she wants to explore her youth and travel further than what she can. But the other one is because of a deeper meaning of like death and something actually serious that she wants to get covered up and finished, so as she doesn't have like a void left inside of her, knowing that or knowing as to how her mother died, as to the reason her mother died. And we also have Yuzuki, and we also have Hinata. Hinata's reason as to going to Antarctica was, I guess, a little bit far-fetched. She just wanted to go because she just overheard a conversation, and she just happened to butt herself in. And I think what's also funny about all this is that they technically all went free to Antarctica just because they were able, I guess, to piggyback Shirase, because her mother was on the expedition team, and so she got to go free with the expedition team, regardless of the fact that she had the 1 million yen saved up just to go. Was it 1 million? Yeah, it was 1 million yen.
They went free because of
because their mother.
No, the last.
The fourth girl. Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Was it not because?
No, I don't think they took. I can't remember if they took the 1 million yen. I think they later took it as a donation.
Right.
You know, as like a donation, but they ended up going because of the fourth girl. Because, like I said, she was like a child actor, and they wanted her to go document the trip, and she didn't want to do it originally. And she also originally didn't want to let the other three go because, like how you're saying, she felt they were just trying to piggyback off of her and force her to go so they can go. And I think that's something that like really kind of like tied the anime together, because I understand, because that's how I kind of felt at the start, was like these are all people with like 4 completely different motives, you know, and it's like, what do they have in common? And like it's like like how you're saying, it kind of feels weird that there's one with like this super like really heavy deep reason to go, and the other 3 are just kind of like, yeah, we'll tag along. But I think what like tied it together was that by the end of it, and as it just kept progressing, they started off with 4 individual reasons, but along the way and by the end of it, they had helped each other, essentially accomplish their goals. Like what was originally individual goals eventually became like all of their goals, in a sense of like helping each and every one of them accomplish that goal. And I think like what's seen best like shows that is I forget what episode it was, but the third girl who joins, they're having people from their hometown, appear to like ask them questions about the trip. And like how Gio brought up how she was having trouble with her classmates, some of her old classmates try and like, say hello to her, and she doesn't want to. And like as that episode progresses, you learn that it's because she had issues with her classmates and all that. And so, as Dom calls her, the tall girl, by the end of the episode, she's the one that kind of tells them off and tells them, how can you expect to come back into the life of a person's problem, come back into a person's life that you caused so much problems for, and it's like, even though that wasn't her own, fight, her own battle, she still ended up trying to help out her because, again, as the journey went on, they kind of got closer and realized that they wanted to help each other accomplish those goals that they had set for one another.
That could get that does make sense.
I think it
You
was,
know, oh,
a little bit at the start of the anime. I think they made it clear. When they were talking to the fourth girl when she joined in, they said that they weren't actually friends. They were just four people that had recently met who had this crazy idea of going to Antarctica. But I think, well, obviously their friendship grew because of because of the journey to get there and all of the work that they put in. And so eventually they became friends, and that kind of, well, that like instinctively, once you're like friends with someone or close friends with someone, you want to help them in whatever way you can. And as Jack mentioned, the tall girl stood up for her, but it wasn't like it's not really like a spontaneous thing. Like, she'd been like worried about it for like a couple of days at least, maybe a few. And she really struggled with how to deal with it because she didn't know how to go about it. Because I guess they were still kind of in that mindset of like, should I really be involved with this person and their problems? But like, eventually she just kind of accepted the fact that they're more than just friends, in the sense that they're best friends, and that she needs to help her in whatever way she can. And honestly, that made it it was like quite a beautiful moment, because you could see like all of them. It was starting with the tall girl. She's the first to stand up, and once she starts struggling with her, her little speech to people in her hometown, the other two girls start jumping in and backing her up. And that, I don't know, that was probably like top 3 best moments of the anime for me.
Yeah, and it's funny because as you were talking that through, I just remembered, like, with the fourth girl, I just remembered that scene where, like, she, like, tells them, like, oh, like, you three are, like, friends, or you guys have been friends for, like, a while, and then they're just like, we only met each other, like, a couple of days ago, or, like, a couple of weeks ago and stuff, and, like, that kind of ties into her whole arc. As I mentioned, she didn't, like, have friends. Of course, being a child actor and stuff, everyone kind of just wanted to use her, and so she felt that way about them too. But then she sees these three aren't even really friends, but they're, like how you were saying, they're together for a common goal, and over time she gains them as friends and all that. I really enjoyed that moment too. Another highlight moment for me that's on the opposite side of the spectrum, where it's not as, like, how Gio put it, like, I don't know what's the way to put it, but, like, this one's on the opposite side of the spectrum in the sense of it's a funny scene. So this entire time they've been planning going to Antarctica, and Mari has not told her mother about it at all during this entire time, and I think she's even forged, like, her signature and, like, family stamp to, like, get the approval. And so it's just one of the funniest scenes to me, where, like, she finally has to bring it up to her mother, because they're like, what's your mother gonna think when you disappear for, like, months? And so, like, she's trying to work up the courage, and her and her sister are watching from afar, her mother in the kitchen, and like, well, she doesn't seem angry, she seems all normal. But then the sister's like, wait, things are a bit too normal. And the mom's like, oh, can you take these bath salts that I recently bought from the store? And Mari goes, and she looks at it, and it says Antarctica on it. And the mom's just like, what, is something on your mind? Perhaps is it Antarctica? And that's when you just see the sister close the door on her and leave her alone. And she's like, oh, damn, she knew. And so she brings her, like, this stack of papers. I guess it's supposed to be, like, the whole trip detailed. And one of them slips out, and that's when the mom sees it's been signed and stamped already, but she never did any of that. And so she's just like, oh, who signed this? I did. Who stamped it? I did. And that's when it just cuts to her running away, and the mom's holding a soup ladle, and she's like gonna beat her with it. And the funniest part to me is the dad comes home. All he does is take one look at the mom, and then just closes the door while the daughter's like screaming for the dad to help. And the part that made it so funny to me was not only did he not help her out, he's holding the door closed from the other side so that she can't even escape from the mom. I think that was one of the funniest scenes in this anime.
Yeah, I've always seen that scene on like Twitter or like those funny anime compilations,
Yeah.
and I always wanted to watch that anime to see like the context of the entire scene. And then when I was watching it, and I saw the mom, I instantly recognized her. I was like, "Oh, so this is the one." And I was looking forward to that scene so much.
Yeah, I
It was
didn't
very
know.
funny.
I've seen that scene before, so I didn't know it was gonna be this anime. When it happened, I was like, "Oh snap, here it goes!" And that was just so funny too. Any other standout scenes or specific moments for you, Dom?
When the tall girl was defending Hinata in the video call, I thought that moment was particularly interesting because afterwards, would they even get a reaction from the girls that from the video?
No, I just cut away to something
So it
else.
just cuts.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what was the reaction from them. That's what I was wondering this whole time. But aside from that, I think some funny moments was definitely the father scene, which is kind of rare because I think that's the only time we see Mari's father, and I think the majority of the fathers of the rest of the girls are kind of just absent. I think we see the tall girl's father, I think just once, and just a glimpse of him in the entire anime. So I think that's a bit of a funny trope, including fathers into, I guess, slice of life animes, because sometimes it's just awkward. What else?
It's not really like a funny scene, but I wanted to see like what you guys thought of it, because when it originally happened, like, and I watched it, it kind of confused me as a bit, but as I like thought about it more, it made sense to me. So as we mentioned, the scene where Mari's mom finds out, you're like, how like, you kind of, because she says, "Oh, I heard it from a neighbor, but that's all," right? And you kind of wonder, well, how did the neighbor hear about it? If like this has kind of been something that's like been essentially kind of kept on the low a bit, other than like their classmates knowing that they're trying to make the trip. But you find out that it's because Mari's like what you can call it, quote unquote, original friend, the one that's like you've seen from the beginning. She's the one that told, I can't remember if it was that she told her mom who told Mari's mom, or she just directly told Mari's mom, but she kind of gave it away to her. And like you find this out when she's about to leave, because like the way I can like explain it is that like I was just kind of confused by it at first, because I was like, well, why would she do that? But then as I thought about it more and more, it like made sense to me. It was like they were two friends who kind of lived this boring life together, and so when Mari started being more adventurous and like doing something so spontaneous as to make a trip to Antarctica, you can definitely tell she started to feel alone and left out, especially because there's even like a point where Mari goes to go with the others to plan it, and she kind of leaves the friend alone there. And so it's like you can tell in a sense like the separation's growing, and she's not even realizing it, but the other friend is. And so it's like, of course, just being children, she doesn't know the proper way to handle or express that, which, for her, she thinks the best way to handle is to, like, attempt to sabotage, Mari going, because she doesn't want to be left alone or behind. But what did you guys think of that scene?
I think it was very, like you said, it was interesting to see, because what you said just now really, like, got me thinking. They are children, and the way she went about it was obviously not the right way. But towards the end of it, like when when she attempts, as they put it, to break up with her friend Mari, she kind of like grew up and matured in like handling it properly. Like she like realized that she couldn't go about sabotaging it forever, and that the only way to like create, I guess, to like resolve the issue was to directly confront her and say that our friendship isn't going how I expected, and they would think it would be proper for us to go our own ways. But as we saw, Mari was not having it, and she decided to reject the breakup. And I think it was like the character development happened very quickly, but it happens like that in real life too, because there's like moments in our lives where we decide to be rash about a certain issue, but then once we properly like stop and think about it, like the answer comes to us, even though it might not be like the overarching correct one. And I thought that was interesting because her friend was, I kind of got like a hint of it in the beginning that she was that she was acting suspicious. And I thought maybe she might be doing something behind her back, because she kept trying to influence her, and by saying things like, "Oh, just don't regret it afterwards," and just kind of like continuously pushing this idea of that if she gets too involved, she's just going to regret it more. And that's like what stopped Mari in the beginning, because when she wants to go to Tokyo for the first time and like have her own adventure, she stops because she didn't want to regret it. And I think her friend was obviously the one that influenced her into that, having that sort of mindset. And once she started breaking free of that with the tall girl and then the third girl afterwards, her friend was scared of losing her only friend, or her little sister, as she put it. And that just kind of like pushed her to do something drastic, which is understandable, because if you've spent your entire life with just one friend and suddenly this friend is leaving you for another friend group, you would honestly have a reaction similar to her. And similar in a way, but not like completely. And yeah, that was like a very like subtle yet deep look into that character specifically, which we don't really see past like maybe episode 4 or 5.
We do see her at the end though, because when they come back from Antarctica, she's like, "Oh, let's hang on." The entire time during the Antarctica trip, she's tried to like get into contact with her, and she just gets like no reply. Like the messages are always like seen. And then Mari comes back and she tells her, "Oh, let's meet up." And the friend says, "Oh no, we can't." And that's when she sends a picture, and she's out in Antarctica now. Like she took the trip out there during, what was it, the winter expedition, or I forget. But like when they come back, another expedition went out, and her friend was on that one now, learning to have the more adventurous life. And that's like kind of like the ending of it. Any thoughts from you, Dom, on that scene?
I think the ending scene, where she comes right back where we started, was kind of, it hit me a bit, because after doing all of this stuff, new friends, new memories, new adventures, we come right back to where we began, right when she's sleeping on that bed. But I think it's, again, not only about the journey, but also about the friends, the memories, the I guess the expeditions that they went to come across. I think for each of them, as they all have reached their goals, I think Mari was being the main character, was the one that we were presented as to what they did afterwards, which was literally just to go back to sleep in bed and just continue off school. But I wish we kind of saw what the rest of the girls did afterwards. Further on, see what they would do. I think they mentioned that they might go in for another expedition further on, but obviously, considering it's been 4 years ever since the anime has aired, I don't think that's gonna happen. But I think, in the story-wise, they might have gone all 4 again, maybe for their own reasons or just to visit Antarctica once more. But yeah. That's pretty much it for the anime. However, I do have a lingering feeling as to Shirase, or the tall girl, as to the mother specifically. I don't want to sound bad and stuff, but it's concerning about the mother's death, which is all the reason as why she wants to go. It's it's pertaining as to how it occurred, which kind of boggles my mind a bit. As for those who don't know, the mother died during a blizzard during the expedition. Everyone else, her co-workers, unfortunately tried searching for her. However, there was no sign or trace of her during the blizzard. And afterwards, they left their little snowcats to go around searching for her. And as to the reason as why she died, if I remember correctly, was because she wanted to retrieve her laptop to try to email her daughter, Shirase, the tall girl. But I just can't fathom to think, why couldn't she just stayed inside of the snowcat so that she could live and maybe just wait a couple more hours afterwards to email her own daughter, but then to risk her life, ultimately ending her life, not on purpose, obviously it was accidental, when she could have just waited the night to retrieve said laptop.
Yeah,
I don't think she went back to email her daughter. They said that either she went back for something, or the thing that was keeping them together ripped off, and she was off on her own. Well, her death isn't explained properly because it raises a lot of questions. Even if it did rip, couldn't she just continued walking forward? Or if she would have gone back, she could have just come back for it later, I guess, when the storm's not happening. But it was... Yeah, there's just a lot of questions to her death. But then ultimately, it still is sad because even if, let's say she got lost, and during her lostness, I guess, she saw the Aurora Borealis, and which was, I guess, one of her dreams because she was very emphatic about it. She even radioed in that it was beautiful, and she put it in the email to her daughter. So I think after seeing that, she tried to find shelter, and she did in that little storage unit, I guess, and that's where... No, because they would have found the body. Maybe they did find the body, but they just didn't want to tell.
Maybe, but I don't think they ever explicitly stated that they did. I don't know. Like Dom says, yeah, it's something that's left up in the air. But tying to it, I think... I don't know. There's a lot to be asked, but as we're speaking about this, I think it's best now I bring up what I think was the best scene from this anime. So
if you're gonna talk about when after she finds the laptop and turns it on, I completely agree.
Yeah, so this entire time, I'm not gonna lie to you, okay, when I watched this, I didn't know nothing about this anime. I just heard it's great. From the beginning, I was holding out hope that the mom was alive somehow, some way. Even though they were like, oh, it was 3 years ago, I was like, come on, please, somehow, some way. But and when they found that little igloo, I was like, please, somehow, some way, tell me she had food there and was able to survive. But so like Gio was mentioning, they find this little storage area, and they find the mom's laptop, and on it there's a photo of the mom and her when she was littler, elementary age, I guess you'd say. Or no, it would be middle school because it was 3 years ago. Or I don't know. But anyway, they find the laptop, and so they give it to her, and they make their way back. And like Don was saying, there's kind of no indication of what happens to the mom. I know someone in the comments of this scene said that she likely went back for the laptop since it was in that little base, so that she can still keep in contact with her daughter, only to get caught in the blizzard. But how Dom and Gio kind of saying, it's kind of weird to think that, because wouldn't you just wait out the blizzard, or were you that worried that you wouldn't be able to retrieve it again? But then also, couldn't you use... I don't know, we're getting too far into it and making it seem like a dumb decision, but...
I think it probably was explained a little bit more thoroughly in the manga, because I think in the anime adaptation they just kind of left it like this. I think the mom, it makes sense to think that the manga went a little bit more into it, maybe, or they just kind of just left it as this. She died. Yeah. We don't know how it happened.
Yeah, but so,
Yeah.
like I said, I had kind of been holding out hope, and even with this, I was like I at this point, I already know. I was like, yeah, there's the mom's gone and stuff, and I was like, oh man, that's gotta suck. But the scene that really got me and really kind of hits it home that yeah, she's gone, and this entire time, Dom's talked about the fact that this girl's wanted to go to Antarctica, and the underlying kind of like tone for her reasoning is that she hasn't grieved the death of her mother properly. The entire time throughout this anime, you see her sending like an email with like the same thing, dear mom and stuff like that. It's hinted like that she still like tries to message her mom in hopes of like that, like because of the fact that she hasn't grieved probably. She just can't accept that her mom truly is gone, and so she plugs the laptop in, she turns it on, and she types in a password, and you assume, oh yeah, it's probably like I don't know like what the original numbers were, but she like see the password's wrong. She looks in the mirror and she sees the reflection of the photo of her mom and her, and so I guess we can presume she types in her own birthday and that's the passcode. And dude, even just talking about it right now, it just hurts my heart. You see the loading and it says like retrieving emails, and you just see every single email from the past 3 years starts flooding in from only her, just all her emails, meaning, like, yeah, she is gone, because all of these emails are unread. Not a single one was her mom able to read. They're all coming in just now. And so, yeah, her mom truly is gone, and that's when, like, it really hits her. Her mom is gone. She never got to see any of these emails, and it was honestly one of the most like emotional scenes and probably one of my favorite anime scenes of all time to watch, because it was just so heart-wrenching to like, it's like watching as something finally hits someone, and the anime kind of just really pictured that perfectly, like they really showed that emotion perfectly of someone finally realizing, and like, like in a sense, like when it comes to death, it's like they beautifully captured that moment of someone finally realizing, like it finally hits them that this person is gone from their life, after all this time of, thinking that maybe some way, somehow they're still there. It's like, obviously they're still there in your heart and in the memories that you made with them, but like to those like that hold out that hope of like, or like that denial in a sense of that they're gone, it was like they beautifully captured that moment where it just hits her that her mom is gone. And I don't know about you guys, but I was just completely like a wreck watching that scene.
Yeah, it really does hit you, because it's not just the fact. Well, to me, the saddest part of that scene is the emails and seeing that the mother wasn't able to read like any of them, and then just kind of the daughter's efforts to reach her mother didn't reach her, and it's just kind of like that's like terribly sad and just depressing, because when I was watching that, I was very close to losing it. It was just so sad. And then when it like pans over to like the friends, the three girls just outside crying their eyes out, because they're like in a way sharing their pain. I don't know, it just made like everything a little bit worse for me. It was just, yeah, it's undisputably the best scene in the entire anime.
Yeah, and it really, like I said, ties together Dom's like main point that he was like kind of asking. It kind of just shows that like by the end of it, I mean, yeah, it's a common thing to like grieve with those that are going through something, so that they don't feel alone in their grief. But at the same time, it was like they knew nothing about her mother. They barely knew anything about her, and by the end of it, they're sharing in her grief, because that's how much this journey connected the four of them. And I just thought it was really so emotional. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, it was pretty depressing. First time it hit, I didn't think it was gonna get that hard, like the email thing. And considering it was like what 1,000 emails,
Yeah.
over the span of 3 years. That's like almost like an email per day. So even knowing the death of her mom, afterwards, she still emailed, every day for the hopes that she would come back and maybe give her a reply. And it was not until after that one of her coworkers, who got the laptop from Shirase, the tall girl, back as knowing that she doesn't need it anymore. But she found that one single email that she left behind that was not yet sent, but was meant for Shirase, tall girl. She sent it, and then holy shit, that hit me hard. And what the email was that she left behind, meaning to send her, was, what did it say? You need to see it in person, as it's more beautiful that way. And it was a picture of the Aurora Borealis. And I'm like, man, considering it's been 3 years, all that time has come and gone. But yeah, that part hit me a lot, as well as what we're discussing right now, of course, with the laptop scene. Did you guys cry by any chance, man to man?
I honestly can't remember. I honestly can't remember if I did. Like, I'm not capping. Like, I can't remember. I know the scene got me very emotional, but I don't know if it got me, like, I can't remember if it got me crying or not. Maybe got, like, me to shed, like, a tear or two. I think the only time I've ever, like, full-on cried to an anime was when it came to the Rascal series with his sisters. Those episodes got me full-on crying. And A Silent Voice got me full-on crying at the end of it. What about you?
Like that.
I think I was like very close to crying, but not. I didn't actually like shed a tear. I definitely felt it though, like my chest was hurting for a bit.
Yeah.
But I didn't like start crying.
What about you, Dom?
I'll be honest, I wasn't close to crying at all. But I tried so hard to like at least get a tear out. But like all these sad animes, I can't cry for some reason. I understand it's a very sad scene that I'm looking at. It's depressing. It hurts to see. To many other people, some people might even relate to this in some other different way, related to like grieving with the death of a loved one. But I just couldn't cry. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm in the wrong here. But I don't know.
No, I feel you
was
on
depressing.
that because
I just couldn't cry.
I can feel you on that because everyone told me I would be bawling tears after watching Your Lie in April, and I never shed a tear once. And that always surprises people. But with that being said, we got 1:30 left. The last thing I just want to say is that I don't know about you guys. I wish I can go into more detail about it, but I just love the way this anime kind of motivates you in a way to really take control of your life. Because I know for me, after watching this anime, like it's what really got me to the point where I am now of like, I want to be in control. I want to do what makes me happy rather than what makes other people happy. I want to pursue my dreams, whether they make money or not, I don't know. Like, it can be a whole other episode, but that's like what this anime really showed was just, there are plenty of people out there who feel like they aren't doing enough with their life, but it's up to us to truly make something of it. With that being said, I've been your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-hosts.
Dominic Castillo.
And Giovanni. And I just want to say that was beautifully said, Jack.
All right, and with 30 seconds left, what are your guys' rating for this anime?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Also, quick thing. It costs $15,000 to go solo Antarctica. Yeah.
All right then. Well, 10
Are
out
you
of 10.
trying to go, Dom?
Let's go. real life plays further than the universe. I guarantee you it won't be as nice as the anime portrayed it. With that being said, thank you all, and we'll catch y'all in the next episode.